Welcome to the week 12 session for 3D visualization for the course of AutoCAD Essential for Civil Engineers. So in this session, you will be learning about the topics like the solid editing, modifying solids or editing solids, and rendering. So these are some of the very important topics that will be used while you are doing solid modeling. And let's see what are the topics that we will be discussing. So we will be talking about how to edit the existing model, like extrude the face, taper face, move face, and other thing. And then apart from that, there are other tools for solid editing, like the body editing and the edge editing. We will be also discussing over here. And regarding generating a section by defining a section plane, how we can create a section plane and define a dynamic section or a live section in a 3D model. Then generating drawing views of solid model. For example, if you have got a 3D model, how you can develop a section view that is a drawing view of the solid model by using the SOLVIEW command. Next, we will be also doing we have already done the mask property, so we will be also taking care of the mask property, understand about what mask property is all about. And then we will be doing filleting the solid model, chamfering the solid model, and then we will be also doing up with mirroring the solid model, arraying it, aligning the solid model, slicing the solid model, then understanding the concept of rendering, how we can assign materials to 3D objects, and then we'll be talking about the basic rendering techniques. And then going forward, we will be talking about how the lights can be added to a 3D model or a scene, and then how cameras can be used, and then how we can create animation out of it. So these are the topics that will be discussed here, along with a project that we will be doing here to illustrate the application of all these tools. Now let's start with the first topic, which is the editing of the solids. So first of all, make sure that you are into a 3D modeling or a 3D basic workspace. So here, let's say if I have a rectangle, I have a solid object. Let's say I created it by extrusion that you have learned in the previous session. So just I would like to change it to a conceptual visual style. Now here, so you can do a 3D orbit and then you can rotate it and see the faces. So this 3D object, solid object, is having certain sub-object, like the faces you are having. So it is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 4 faces, and the side and the top and the bottom. We can edit these faces, we can edit the edges, and we can edit the body of this particular solid. So there are certain commands that we will be doing, like the solid editing commands, by which we can edit this solid. So let's start with the solid editing set of commands that we will be doing here. So the command is solid edit, and the first set of command for the solid editing is face editing. So if we want to edit a face, for example, there is a face over here. So what are the options that are there? We can extrude a face, we can move a face, we can rotate a face, offset, taper, delete, copy, color, material, undo, etc. So extruding a face. For example, if I select the extrude option, I can select a face. For example, I select this face, so it says one face found. And then if I want to extrude this face, let's say if I want to have a height of extrusion, let's say if I go with 20 units, so, and it asks for the taper angle, let's say 0. See, the object is extruded 20 units. Now let's check the height, actually what is the height of it. So with the snapping over here, there is a 3D snapping also on. You can have the 3D snapping on, where other option is also there, like perpendicular vertex point, but the normal snapping will also work over here. So let's put the endpoint on. So let's say if I want to measure the distance, what is the height? Let's say it is 627. So let's have some bigger value for the solid edit face. So now in the face, I want to extrude the face. So I select this face and I want to extrude at the height of, let's say 100 units, or let's say 300 units. So, and the taper angle is 0. So the object increases its height from the face. Similarly, if I select this face, extrude, and select this face, and if I want to increase the height, so I will say height of extrusion at say 500 units. So, and the taper angle is 0. The face extrudes and the object is resized. Similarly, if I want to extrude this face with a taper angle is basically the angle that the perpendicular face will make with the z-axis. So let's say if I do an extrusion and select this face, I have selected the top face and I want to have the height of extrusion, let's say 400. And now here I want to have the angle of taper for extrusion. So here I give 15 degree. So the face will be extruded and the faces would be tapered at the given angle, that is 15 degree from the z-axis. So here the extrusion of the face can be also done with the height as well as the taper. Now let's do more option in the face. Let's say I want to extrude this face in a particular path. The path should be perpendicular to the face. Now I want to extrude this face in path. So I create a polyline. Let's say I put the ortho on, and let's say this is the path in which I want to extrude. So I want to have my view cube over here. So click on the view cube. So here the view cube is, let us put it into the default state and go to the 3D orbit and make it parallel projection. Okay. So now you have this path. So go to the 3D modeling. There is also the option of face extrude if you find it over here. So there is an extrude face, taper face, another thing. You can select the extrude face option of the solid edit. Select the face that you want to extrude. Then you have the path option over here. Select the path, which is a polyline, and the face will be extruded with the path. So this is way you can also edit a face, extruding it in a path. Then now the next option is, we can also select it from the drop down, is a taper face. Now for this I would be having a different set of solid. Let's say if I have a rectangle and the height is, let's say, 700. So here I want to taper this face within this axis. So I want to taper this face. I want to taper this face, and I want a tapering angle from this edge, that is the perpendicular axis over here. This edge one, the vertical edge. So here I have this solid edit face taper, or I can take the option from here from the drop down. I can say taper face, select the face, and then press enter. Now it will be asking you the base point, another point along the axis of tapering. Now the axis of tapering is this edge, this is the point, and then give the taper angle. Now let's say if I want to taper 45 degree, so you can see that face tapers at 45 degree. Now let's say I do an undo, I go with the taper option, select the face, press enter, and the base point is this, the other point is this, and angle is, let's say, minus 15 degrees. So it will be tapered into the negative direction. So this is way you can basically taper the faces of the solid. Now if I want to taper two faces which are sharing the same tapering axis, for example these two faces, so I can go for the taper option, select this face and select this face. Okay, now let me make sure that I have selected the right face. So I will taper face, so select this particular face, this face, and press enter. And let's say if I have this axis 15 degree, so here you can see that the different faces have been selected. So you have to be very careful when you are selecting the taper face. So let us go with the hidden option, or I'll go with the wireframe first. Okay, so let me go with the shaded option. So that's fine. So I use taper face, select this face, and then select this face. So you have got two faces, press enter, and the taper axis is this. And let's say if you want to taper 15 degree, so the both of the faces will be tapered. This face will also taper and this will also taper. So if you see the top view, these two faces have been tapered. So this is the tapered face option. So go to the 3D orbit, and go to the parallel view and press exit. So I'll just change it to 2D wireframe and then shaded option. Okay. So the other option in the solid edit, you can write solid edit in the face, is the move, rotate, offset. Three options are there. So let's check how these options will work, and then later on we will be doing copy, color and material. Now to illustrate the move option, so what does the move does? So the move, basically, if you select the move option, you can select any of the face and select the base point, and you can move it at the direction that you want. For example, if I want to move this in the this is according to the UCS is the y-axis, so I want to move it at the rate 0, 400 in the y-axis. So minus 400. In fact, it would be in the negative direction of the y-axis, so minus 400. So the face will move 400 in the negative direction of y-axis. Similarly, I can also select the move option from here, the move faces. I can select this particular face, let's say the top, and if I want to move this up in the z-axis, so I would say at the rate 0, 0, let's say 700 in the z-axis. So the face moves and the geometry basically flexes its shape according to the new face. But here you can see that the extrusion and move options are looking very same. Now what is basically, if we can move the face by extrusion, then what is the use of a move option? I have taken a special case. I have taken a box where I have a slot over here. It can be an opening in the window, or it can be opening in a particular solid object. So and practically when we have to look into it, let's say there is a window opening and we want to move that opening. So we will see that practical application. But let's say here we have a slot, and this slot, if I would see it in the 3D orbit, so it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 faces over here. And if I want to move the position of this slot, let's say in the negative x direction, that is 200 units this side, then what I should do? Then here I can select the 5 faces to move the slot. So how do I do it? So for example, I want to select the 5 faces. So for here, I go for solid edit, face, and I have a move option. Select this face, this one, this is fine. And then to select the other faces, just use the view cube tool. So then zoom in, and let's say I have selected the 5 faces of the cut. And now I want to move these 5 faces in the negative x direction. So press enter, and there's a base point over here. Let's say if you do it manually, you can move it, or you can say at the rate minus 600, 0. The entire slot will move in the x direction. So here the move option basically works. Now selecting faces. For example, I would like to share here. For example, if you select go to the select face option in the solid edit, and if you do a move operation, and if you select the edge which is common to two faces will be selected. So 2 faces found. But you want to remove this face, so you can go for remove option. The remove option is activated, and you can remove the face, and then you can move this object wherever you want. So here it is the move option. The next in the is the I would like to go with the delete option, and then I will go with offset and copy option, because delete option may be very useful here in the slot. So if you have a slot like this, and if you want to delete all the 5 faces, you want to remove the slot or remove the cut, so you can use the delete option over here. So here I go solid edit, face, delete. So I selected the common edge, this one, common edge, this one, and just change the view cube and select this face. Now see if all the faces are selected. No, this one has to be selected, and then press enter. The face is deleted. So this is the way you can use the delete option to delete the faces in the solid model. So here I want to introduce the dynamic UCS over here. So the dynamic UCS can be put on from here. So what is a dynamic UCS? If the dynamic UCS is on, and if you want to select any face as a working plane, or if you want to change the UCS aligned to a face, let's say if I want to draw a rectangle, so I just keep my mouse over here. Now you can see the UCS is selected. Now here I can work. Click on the face in which you want to work. Create the profile. Now here the rectangle is created, and I want to extrude this rectangle. So okay, so I'll say last means the last object created, and then I want to move downward. Let's say just pull it down. So let's go with the wireframe and see how much it has gone. Okay, so this is something that the another solid has been created. Now I do a subtraction. So enter and press this one. So a slot is cut over here. Now here I want to tell you the offset option. Here if you look into it, there's a through slot over here. I want to basically reduce the, let's say I take a dimension over here, and it measures it around, let's say 8739. So I want to reduce each faces. I want to offset each faces by, let's say 300 units. So if I take a single face for offset, and then we will take the multiple face. So face offset. So if I select this face over here, and if I say an offset distance of 500, so it will move 500, but we can do it by move option also, and by the extrude option also. So what is the relevance of doing an offset when we select a multiple face? So if I have a solid edit, face offset, and if I select multiple face, for example these two faces, and if I say, let's say I'll give more value, let's say 700, both of the faces will now requires okay, so let me do it again. Solid edit, face offset, select the face, the common face, the common edge, enter, and give a distance, let's say 700. You can see both the faces now are offsetted, right? This way you can reduce, you can offset the faces or face of a solid object. Or if you can do with single object, you can also do like solid edit, face offset, and select any individual face, and then you can give a value. Next is in the category is the copy face, and then we will be doing rotate face and the color face. So let's say if I want to have the profile of this particular face and I want to copy it, so I have to go with solid edit, face copy. So here I have this face, and I can create a copy of this here. Now creating a copy will give me a profile to further use it for different purposes. So now this is a, basically if you can look into it, this is a region, and if I explode this region, it will become 2D entity. So I can use this for 2D sketching and drawing. So I can copy any faces that I want to do. So if I want to copy this face, particular face, let's say solid edit, face copy. So select it and copy it where you want. So the face is copied in this case. So then you can explode this face and create the 2D lines. So this is how you do a copy of the face. So you can do it from here also, from the solid editing panel. So you have the copied face. And the second last, and the other option of the face is the color face. So if I want to give a different color to this face, so I can always go with the color face, select the face, press enter, and select the color that you want to give. So you can have different colors to different faces. And then one tool is not there in the drop down, which is the material option. So you can give different materials to the face, right? If you know the material name, you can give the material name. So we will be doing in the rendering part in this session itself. So how we can assign different materials to different faces. So you can give a different color, but how you can assign different materials to different faces. So we will be doing it. So face, and then just I'll give a different color, and let's say I give a different color, so to make it a multicolored option. So the last option that now remains is the rotate option. So I can rotate any face at any axis. For example, if I want to rotate this face in this particular axis, so I will go for solid edit face rotate, and I select this face, select this 2 point as an axis, and let's say I want to rotate 30 degree. So this face is rotated. Similarly, I can, if I want to rotate the upper one, this face, so solid edit face rotate, select this face, and then if you have these 2 points and if you want to rotate by 30 degree. Now here the problem is because of the cut, the symmetry does not allow to rotate it. So you can now rotate the other faces. Let's say if you want to rotate this particular face at, let's say this is the axis of rotation, and if you want to rotate it in 15 degree, so it will be rotated in 15 degree. Again, you have to follow the right hand thumb rule, where the thumb is the axis of rotation and the fingers are the direction of rotation. So you can try, when you're giving the axis of rotation, put the thumb in the axis of rotation, bring your finger, fold your fingers, and the direction where the finger goes would be, all the other fingers will go, or the palm will go, is the axis of rotation. So here we finish up with the face option of the solid editing face option. Then we have the edge option. So what we can do with the edge option, so we have edge, two options are there. We can copy any edge. For example, if I want to copy this two edges, I can select them and copy them if I want it for some profile, if I want to check the length or whatever it is. If I want to color any edge to give it a discrete color, so I can select, let's say, the edge color option and select the edge option over here and give a color. Let's say a red color would go, so the edge will be red in color. So here if we have the shaded option, the color will not be shown, but if you say shade with edges, the color will be shown. So let us give different colors. Edge color, L is for the color, and select enter and give a different color. So you have got a different color for the edge. So let me give it again. I'll select this edge and give a different color to it. Let's say a magenta. So due to the visual graphics, probably things may not be visible. Okay, now it's visible. Two colors are visible. Now we have done the edge option. Now we will be doing the body option. Other thing about the edges, if you go to the solid editing panel over here, so we have got this color and copy edges. There is another option called extract edges. So what does it does it this command do? If you select the object, it will convert the entire object into a wireframe. So if you look into it, it is copied. The wireframe object is copied and the solid object remains as it was there. So let me try with this. Let's say if I move this particular object above, now you can see that the solid has been converted to an wireframe structure because it has extracted the edges and made it a wireframe structure. So this is again a very interesting command where a solid object is converted into a wireframe. Okay, so let us do with the body option, and then we will be doing the imprint also later on. So I have this solid object, and let us go with the solid edit command and go with the body option. So here in the body option, I have got imprint, separate solid, shell, clean, check, undo, exit. Now let's say if I have got two objects, which is two separate objects which are not having common edges. So what I wanted to mean is, the next command I will be doing a separate solid. So let's say if I have got these two solids, set of solids, one solid is having a common edge, and if I do a union option right now for these particular edge, it will become a single object, and also if I do a union option, it will become a single object. Now let's say if I want to separate these two objects into a different solid because they are in union, I can use the separate solid option in the body. So if I select it, the union will be broken and these two objects will be different. But here the union will not be broken because it is having a lump. So if I do a solid edit and if I do a body separate, P for separate, now you can see that the object is press enter, the object will not be separated. So with the separate solid option, you can only separate objects which are in union, but they are not having lumps. Now the other option that I would like to do with you is the shell option. Now this is a very interesting option also. Let's say if I have a circle, dia is 400, let's take the dia, and I extrude this particular circle and make it a cylinder. Let's say I make it 700 extrusion. So here I want to create a shell. I want to create a thickness into it and I create a hollow over here. The one thing that I can do is by using the extrude option, but AutoCAD gives me a command which I can do a shell in a particular face. For example, if I want to create a shell in this face and I want to keep the face cover, I mean I don't want the it hollow throughout, but I want the punch to be here and the thickness should be here. So let's see how it is possible. Solid edit, so body, and then the shell option and select a 3D solid. So it says select a 3D solid. So I selected a 3D solid, and while I am doing a shell, I want to remove only this face. So I click on this face and now give the shell thickness. So let's say the shell thickness is 30 mm, and you can see that if you press enter, double enter, the object is having thickness from all the faces. So this is the shell option that can be done. Now let's do it in the box. So I have a rectangle, let's say at the rate, it says 700 into 300. I extruded this box and made a height of 2100. Now I want to create a shell at this face and at this face. These two faces I want to remove, and the thickness of this board or this particular shell would be, let's say, 30. So solid edit, body, and we have the shell option. So select the 3D solid, remove the faces that you want to remove while you're doing a shell, and give the thickness as 30 mm. Now you can see that the shell is done. Now here I would like to give you a small example. Suppose if I want to create racks over here, slots over here, so I can go with the face option over here, and I will do a copy option, select the face, press enter, and let's say I copy it at the distance of 500 in the Z axis. So now I can extrude this face, let's say 30 units. I can have the shell, I can have the 3D solid. So this is also one of the application when we do modeling of different kind of architectural elements. So this is the shell option with the body, and then we have the option called clean and imprint. So I will be taking this now. So here I would be talking about the option called imprint option in the body. So the imprint option in the body is used for you have this imprint option to create some extra faces or edges in the body. For example, if you have this, if I shaded this object, and if I want to separate these faces into two parts and have a kind of profile, so I go with UCS. Let's say first of all I will use a dynamic UCS. So let's say if I have an arc, so I keep my UCS here, and okay, let me fix the UCS right here. Let's say I'll not go with the dynamic UCS right now, because now let's say if you have an arc from here to, let's say first point is this, and second you want to, let's say, or you want to draw a line. I'll take an option at a line, then we can settle down with point, let's say I want to. So the dynamic UCS, I'll put it off because it is having a problem. So this is the dynamic UCS. So my UCS is in this particular phase. I have a line option, and let's say I have this. So I am separating this face into two parts with this line. So if I go with solid edit, body, and imprint. So if I select the 3D solid and select this line, remember that it should, if you are going to separate the face with the line should connect to the corner point. So now let's say if I want to select this line, that is not getting selected. So what I need to do is I need to change it to the wireframe so that it gets selected. So go to the solid edit, body, and then I have this option called imprint. Select the 3D solid, let's say for in this case this, and this is a line, and delete the source object. The source object was a line. I would say yes and press enter. Now you can see that this line is a part of this particular face. So now you can basically have the option called face extrude and select this face, and you can have it extruded at a particular axis. So let's say if I want to go for face extrude, solid edit, face extrude, select this face, and let's say if I want to extrude it at a height of, let's say, 500. So there's a tapering angle that is being shown. That is the reason. Solid edit, face extrude, select the face, and the height is, let's say, 500, and the tapering angle is 0. So now you can see that the face has been extruded and with the profile, and it has been made. So this is the option for the imprint. Let's see if I want to have a circle imprinted in the face. Solid edit. So first of all, let me take my UCS here. UCS, set it over here. Create a circle, and let's say press enter first. Create a circle here, and I want to go for an imprint. Solid edit, body. So I am imprinting the particular curve into the face. So 3D solid is this, and object is this. No, and press enter. Now I can now have this circle as one of the faces in this particular. So if I select this, and if I have an extrusion of, let's say, 500, so it will move ahead. Or if I make minus 500, it will be subtracted. So solid edit, face extruded. Now it will be subtracted minus 5. So you can see that a cut would be there. So this is the solid edit body imprint. Now moving towards, we would be doing more commands. So I'll have the plan option. The plan option will make me into the XY plane. So I would go with the 2D wireframe, select this, and I would say zoom, enter, all. Now the next option would be how we can rotate in 3D. Already we have done. How we can array in 3D, and how we can move in 3D we have done, but there is also some command for move in 3D. And slice is basically how we can cut the 3D object into two parts and aligning the object. So before that, these are the modification tool, but there is a fillet and chamfer option in 3D also. Now let's say if I have a rectangle here, I say 300 by 500 is the rectangle. So this rectangle is at an height. So now the UCS is in the vertical place. So I would make it UCS world. So now it is XY here. So you have this rectangle at the rate 300, 500. Now you extrude this at 700. Now I want to have a fillet in the edge of this particular 3D object.